Meet Norme, a YouTuber with over 1.2 million subscribers. A lot of you guys probably already know who this guy is, or have at least seen him at some point without even knowing it. Back in August, he was the guy trying to beat the world record for sleep deprivation. A record that, if you didn't know, hasn't even been monitored by Guinness World Records since 1997, mainly because of the mental and physical dangers associated with a lack of sleep. Officially, the world record for the longest amount of time without sleeping was set by a man named Robert McDonald in 1986. McDonald was able to stay awake for 18 days, 21 hours, 40 minutes, or 453 hours, 40 minutes. Norme, however, opted to try and break the world record of 11 days, 24 minutes, because apparently that's the world record without the use of any sort of stimulants. Norme streamed for almost 12 straight days without sleeping a single time. And according to this article I'm reading, Norme apparently fought the urge to sleep by watching videos, hanging out with his friends, eating McDonald's, talking to his concerned chat, and playing with Elmo and Kermit the Frog dolls. Okay. He was also pretty active on Twitter the entire time he was streaming, tweeting that he had his friends alternating 12-hour shifts to make sure that he stays awake. After like 8 or 9 days without sleep, people started to really question Norme's just sanity and overall health. One account even claimed that he was phasing in and out of consciousness and had lost the ability to read. But don't worry, Norme replied and cleared everything right up. Clearly, this was a pretty tough task for Norme to complete. You could see that he is just, like, not there during the later hours of the stream.
Oh, but it's honey.
Yeah.
Hey, you giving Finn bad behavior.
Yeah.
I told you to be on your best behavior. You're gonna have to take water to your face. I don't want you delirious. Here. Stay, Tiny. Stay awake.
You're going delirious again. Well, not delirious. You're going nodding off.
Yeah, that's not delirious.
He's
going delirious.
He doesn't want you to start going delirious, though. If you nod off.
Who's that at the doorbell?
But really, up until this point, staying awake was the hardest challenge for him. And then the unthinkable happened. On the last day of his stream, or more like the last 12 hours of the stream, Norme got banned on both his YouTube and Kick accounts, which were the two platforms that he had been streaming this whole thing on. The VODs were also completely deleted from both platforms, forcing Norme to quickly move the stream over to another platform called Rumble. But that's not the worst thing that happened. He also got swatted. Yeah. Can you imagine being 11 days sleep deprived and having a SWAT team show up at your door? I would be questioning everything, thinking everyone's a hallucination. I wouldn't know what was going on. They'd for sure think I'm like tripping on some sort of drug, because they wouldn't have the context that I've been awake for fucking 12 days before this. I'm just glad it didn't turn into a worse situation for him, because it seems like it was settled pretty easily. And in the end, Norme did beat the record that he was going for. But just because he was able to complete this challenge and prove that it was possible, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily not really dangerous to try. In fact, people have been doing this sort of thing for so long that we actually have pretty accurate data telling us the long-term effects that this kind of stuff can have on your body. The cumulative effects of sleep loss and sleep disorders have been associated with a wide range of deleterious health consequences, including an increased risk of hypertension, diabetes, obesity, depression, heart attack, and stroke. There was actually an entire experiment done in the 1960s on a man named Randy Gardner. It's known as the Randy Gardner sleep deprivation experiment, if you want to look into it a little bit further. Gardner was 17 years old when he stayed awake for 11 days, 24 minutes, all the way back in 1964. It was claimed that the experiment demonstrated that extreme sleep deprivation has little effect on a person, other than the mood changes associated with tiredness. This claim was made because apparently on the 10th day of the experiment, Gardner was still able to beat the researcher in a game of pinball, which was apparently one of the benchmarks they were using to test Gardner's cognitive awareness. However, the man that was monitoring Gardner's overall health for the duration of the experiment, Lieutenant Commander John J. Ross, actually reported very serious cognitive and behavioral changes in Gardner. He was moody, having a ton of trouble concentrating, having short-term memory loss, paranoia, and it even got so bad that he was literally having hallucinations. One of the examples that they gave was that on the 11th day, Gardner was asked to subtract 7 repeatedly from 100. You know, 100, 93, 86, you know, it keeps going. Gardner was only able to make it to 65, however, before going silent. And when they asked him what he was doing, why he wasn't continuing, he simply replied, "I forgot what I was doing." Gardner was monitored for 10 weeks following the experiment and had appeared to have fully recovered from this sleep loss. But remember, this was in the 60s, 1964 to be precise. Well, apparently around 2007, so 43 years later, Gardner reported that he began experiencing extreme levels of insomnia, which he believes is without a doubt connected to the experiment in some way. I'm not sure exactly why he thinks this, but those were his words. So going back to Norm, you could see throughout his stream that he is progressively going downhill, both mentally and physically. By the 200-hour mark, Norm had to have his brother in the room with him, constantly splashing his face with water and forcing him to stand up, all in the name of keeping the record going. I just really don't understand why he would want to do this if there's just no chance of recognition at any point. Because, like I said, this is no longer a world record that will be accepted. And even if it was, I'm pretty sure you need someone from Guinness World Records officially in the room with you, keeping track of what you're doing the entire time, so that they can verify it in the end. Our friend Norm here has none of that. So even if he had beaten the record, which he wasn't even close, because the one that's already in the books is the 18-day one, they're not just gonna throw in a record that's almost a week shorter than the current record. The motivation just makes no sense to me. Not long after this 12-day no-sleep stream, Norm went live on Twitch attempting the world's longest sleep stream.
Well, we're going to live on Twitch next because it's going to be a sleep stream. World's longest sleep stream. We just did world's longest staying awake. As soon as this one ends, as soon as we're going to cut the cake, we're going to have our celebrations, it's straight to the sleep stream over on Twitch. I will drop all of the links. And it's going to be text-to-speech donos. So all your donations, you can play whatever videos you like to try and wake me up from the sleep.
Where he just laid in bed for days. I guess he slept sometimes, but that's not all he was doing. His brother comes in at one point and they just start talking. Norm's just on his phone the entire time. Not much sleeping is going on in the longest sleep stream. He could have called it the longest laying down stream. Maybe that would make a bit more sense. This didn't last too long though, because after only 2 days of being live, Norm was banned off of Twitch for performing dangerous acts, I think. So he again moved the stream over to Rumble, a place that just seems to have no rules, I guess. I've literally never even loaded up the website of Rumble before, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know their policies very well. They seem like they're a step down from Kick though, which I don't know how that's possible. But Norm was able to continue his stream on Rumble. That was until 38 hours into the stream, when Norm woke up with some issues. He tweeted out that a layer of skin started peeling off of the back of his hands when he woke up, so he was headed to the emergency room. Holy shit, what? Oh my god. I can't figure out what this was. Norm didn't say, he just tweeted the picture and never followed up. That's great. If anyone knows why laying down and sleeping a lot would make the skin on the back of your hands peel off, can you please let me know? Because I'm concerned. Okay. So, we know that Norm has done a no sleep stream. He's done an exclusively sleep stream. He's also done a longest time without blinking stream, which I just decided to not really cover very much because it's honestly not that interesting. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. But now I can finally get to the reason I wanted to make this video in the first place. About a week ago, Norm started a new challenge or world record, whatever you want to call it. The 1 month in solitary confinement no light world record. I'm not kidding. The whole thing is apparently all in an effort to test if he goes insane, which just that in itself is an insane thing to do, I feel like. Norm has himself in what looks to be a closet, or if it's not a closet, it's a very tiny room with barely enough space to fit this mattress on the floor that he's using. He isn't just sitting in the room either. He also has these challenges that he has to complete for every donation that he gets from the chat. So for $5, he has to do a handstand. $20 puts Norm in a straitjacket for 15 minutes, and $50 will force him to tape his mouth shut for an hour. And he's doing all of this in complete darkness. From the positioning of this camera, it literally just looks like we're watching a 24/7 stream of someone being tortured in a room, which really doesn't seem that far off from what's happening here. By day 5, Norm had already began showing signs of erratic behavior. He's been heard rambling about intergalactic aliens and making strange demonic noises.
They made a deal with intergalactic aliens. They're speaking to
let's hear what the intergalactic voices are saying.
The audience here seems to be fairly divided as well. Some people think that Norm is just putting on a big act, trying to get some sort of virality out of it, while others believe that Norm genuinely has some issues and are concerned for his health and well-being. It's sort of strange the more of this I watch, because it seems like the rules here are just a bit all over the place. Like, Norm just straight up opens the door and leaves the room sometimes. I feel like stepping outside the door a single time would just automatically end the challenge, but I guess that's not the case. So I really don't even know what the challenge is at this point, because it's not to just stay in the room like I thought. Maybe it's just the fact that he's alone and in the dark. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet because I'm never really one to like view shame anyone or just criticize someone for having a low view count, but I cannot for the life of me imagine putting myself through any of this to stream to like 30 people max. It just doesn't seem logical to me. As of right now, if you were to go to Norm's YouTube channel, you could still see him live doing this challenge. I really doubt he'll go longer than like a couple more weeks. It is just crazy to me that he's been doing this for over a week and I'm just now learning about this now. I truly hope he doesn't end up coming away from all of this with like crazy everlasting side effects. And just in case someone watching this is thinking about doing something similar to this, please don't. It is really unhealthy. And I don't think it's a great look, if I'm being honest. Like, sure, maybe you will get some views and followers off this shit, but think about the image that people will have in their head about you. You will be known on the internet as the possessed man in the closet. Is that really what you want to be famous for? This reminds me slightly of the whole Mr. Beast thing that he used to do, where he would like sit in a room and say a word 100,000 times.
92, 86,993, 86,994, 86,995, 86,996, 86,997.
It's not content that anyone really wants to see. I doubt anyone has really sat through that whole Mr. Beast video and watched the whole thing. You skip around, you see if he's still counting. You don't watch the whole thing, but you get clicks because it's shocking to see. I just don't know if shock value is the best method of approaching things when you're trying to build an audience for yourself. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, I'll get out of here. Bye.